All right, so today we have a solar system to build and probably will not take 6 days. And ironically, the solar system will run on solar power, and when there's not solar power, there's a battery. So we're going to get started on this 2015 Red Dot Design Award STEM kit. And here we go. So we have our instructions that tell us what we got here and all the contents. So we have our planets here: Earth, Uranus, Venus, Neptune, Mercury. It's got two for Earth because it's got an inner and an outer, because you got the green and the blue. And then you got the Sun, Mars, Saturn, Jupiter. And not Pluto, because I think this was during the years where they were questioning what Pluto was, and they said it was not a planet. So I think it's back to being, well, I think half the scientists think it's a planet and half don't. So that's where we're at with that. And we will start down here with assembling the hybrid solar-powered unit. So we'll get our scissors here. First bag. And we still have these little clippers from our last set, which was building the space station. So it was really great that it came with those clippers, because those are like $20 and it came with it. So that's pretty cool. All right, look at this motor. So here's our motor. And if you'll remember, on the solar system, the motor was really tiny. In fact, the motor was pretty much the size of this gear here, which is called a worm gear, because it like worms its way around. But you can see this is a pretty big motor, so it can handle more voltage and amperage. But I think also what's interesting is the solar panel seems smaller, or at least not really any more significant. So it looks kind of delicate. Let's see how this is. Okay, all right. Well, you know what? Maybe it's the same, actually, now that I see it. We will be able to compare that later. And it actually has a film on it that we can peel off. So, there we go. Motor and solar panel, yep. All right. And gonna get to our setup here. And look, there's all that. So I guess we're going to see what pieces are what. I think I might need to get a Phillips head screwdriver. And we can see here that there is a battery, a place for a battery, and that is a AAA. 1.5 volt AAA. And all right, there's this piece here. And if we look at our picture, this is this piece. And so that's going to be facing down. And then there's a cover that goes, actually it's the solar panel that goes in there. So and that's going to be, we have our positive and negative. Positive is going to be that side. So that goes face down in there. So that's where our solar panel goes. All right, that is step one. And then we'll go over to 2. And yeah, these are Phillips head screws. So I'm going to pause this and go get a Phillips head screwdriver. All right, so here's my Phillips head. Now, this is the old Champion Swiss Army knife, and I got this in like 1980, so it's really old, but it's still good. And see, I still have the tweezers. I did not lose the tweezers, and I did not lose the toothpick, so pretty good. You have your corkscrew, which I've never used to uncork wine because I don't really drink any. I do have scissors, but you see there was a little spring in here for the scissors. That gave way. But sometimes I still, I could still kind of use them. But anyway, had this a long time. So, all right, so let's see what we got here. We've got to hook this up, and we've got this piece. Let's see, is this, this is actually just the underside. So we take this piece here, and then we're to put red and blue tabs. I see that. All right, so we take these pieces here, and as you can see in the instructions, you push this in here, okay, and then we're going to hold that in. We're going to make an electrical connection. So what you have is, you see, you have a wire with the tab on it, all right, and we're going to push that in, and then that's going to be held in with a screw, and the screw is going to hold that in there, and actually it's going to push that tab up against the solar panel positive connection, and I will show you that. So you see the hole for the screw is tight, so that way when I put this in, as it tightens, it's actually going to have resistance and hold this red wire in. But you know what? Before I do that, let me see if I can push this out, the solar panel, because this is interesting. I want to show you this. All right. Because it's good. It's important to understand exactly what's going on, not just put it together. All right. So here's the solar panel. And you see those two metal connection plates there are actually, that's a positive and that's a negative. The red is representative of positive, okay, in circuits. And so that's why it goes face down. And the screw is going to push against the tab on this wire, okay, and that's going to push it up against the positive connector there. Output from the solar panel is what it is. So we'll put that in. You see, that's going to be sitting there like that. And then the solar panel goes in and clicks in, see? So now we understand what is happening here. As we tighten this screw, it's going to push that tab up against our positive output for the solar panel. And in fact, I can get a multi-tester and even figure out what kind of voltage, although I'm doing this indoors and I'm not going to get the kind of voltage from a light bulb that I would being outdoors. Very, very different, actually. But we'll know if it works when we hook it up. Well, it might get some power from the light bulb and be able to turn our solar system. It's kind of interesting to use light to run a solar system, because the solar system doesn't really run on light. It runs on gravity, right? But at the center of the solar system is the sun. And that puts out all kinds of photons, right? And if you watched the last video, which is on fluorescence, and I explained about electrons and photons, and you get photons from the sun, light. Okay, so there we go. Now those are in there and those are secure. And now we're going to go to step 3. The theme here is learning can be fun. So that's what we're doing all the time. All right, so here we have this piece, and look, we have what looks like a ball joint, okay, which is similar to the ball joint in a dog bone on a radio-controlled car. Because on a radio-controlled car, you have these, not only do you have a dog bone for turning the wheels, okay, because it's on a suspension, look like a suspension arm. Pretend this is the wheel, right? And then you have this is the actually suspension arm, and then let's say you have a spring attached to this, and then it would ride up and down, right? Or it could even act as a steering, might use a ball joint. So, or it could be something that spins, like it locks in there and spins. So, you can have, although a dog bone is going to have pieces that stop it, it's going to be able to move around and swivel, but it'll also have two little rods that connect it so it spins the wheel. But it's similar. You do have a ball joint in a dog bone and in various suspension pieces in a radio control car and a real car. So I just like to make connections to things, so that you can see that there's a lot of similarities between different kinds of toys and technologies. All right, so step 4, we take this piece here that already has these 3 wires attached, and we're going to attach our solar panel to the arm. And now I understand that the reason it swivels is so that we can swivel it so that it faces the light. So if the sun's over there, you'll be able to turn it that way. Or if it's over here, you can turn it that way. See how that works? So they were thinking pretty well about that. All right. Now we're going to go to our motor housing, which looks like the gearing is already assembled. See that? So, I mean, it's nice. I know that we love assembling our own gearing. But what's nice about this is it's really low energy loss. They did a good job of assembling it. So it's if you watch the one on the space station we built, putting together all the gears, sometimes things are a little rough and it took a lot of energy to turn. So it didn't always move smoothly, but this moves very smoothly. So we're going to take our motor, and what do they have here? They have like a drop of oil, it looks like, but I don't think I see anything that indicates that they gave me a drop of oil. Let's see. Sometimes I have seen in, radio control car kits that there will be a little plastic tube of oil. And they may not have given us that. It's still going to work. And they're just trying to reduce friction. But that's all right. Sometimes things are also pre-oiled. So, sometimes the instructions will tell you something like that. And it's already done anyhow. All right. Well, in any case, we're going to put this in. And you see how that worm gear is going to it's going to, look at that. It's going to insert itself up against this other gear. And get these wires out of the way. It looks like that they want one wire on one. No, they're both on this side. Okay, the wires are there. And let's see, watch. If we spin, can we spin it? That motor is, it's okay. Well, I can't spin it by hand. We'll see how that, I was hoping I could get enough finger torque on there. I hope that doesn't mean, let's see, let's check something out here. Let's pull this back out. All right, I can spin that easily. I just want to be sure that we're assembling this correctly. Okay, it could be that just the way it's designed, you can't really turn it with your fingers. So, all right, I can't turn it with my fingers. That's fine. We'll deal with that later if there's a problem. All right, so we're going to take this piece, and then this is going to hold our motor in place. All right, I think that's going to be fine. I think that the way worm gear works, I think it's just fine. All right, let's see. And then we're going to put our 2 screws in there and hope that our, screwdriver is thin enough. And I don't know that it is, so let's see. Okay, it is, so we'll put the other one in. I think I'm going to get a thinner screwdriver. Be right back. All right, so here's a little screwdriver kit that I ordered from Radio Shack, which I believe is still in business online. So take this out, put this in there, this little hobby screwdriver kit. Make sure we get a good tight connection because we want that motor. You need that motor to be held in place very firmly. Otherwise, if it jumps up and down because it's not held down firmly, the gears will skip and that will strip the gears out. We don't want that. So, all right. Yeah, that's down tight now. All right. What do we got here? So we have this piece here, and I'm not sure. Okay, we got that in there, and I'm not sure what that is. So let me. Let's see. Is that? That is okay. I see. So that's just pushed down. That's our battery housing. All right. So then that's going to go. That's just going to go down like that. And then we're going to look at this. All right, let's see what we got here. We have solar panel. This is going to go into there. And then all right, we're going to have to take a look at this, I believe. I'm going to have to read ahead here. Okay, so we've assembled everything as indicated on the instructions. I took the 3 red wires and inserted them in this terminal, and then I put down this terminal cap to hold them in, and then I did the same with the blue in the middle terminal and the black here, and then I have the battery area here that I can plug in because I don't have enough sun. And it said for lubricant you can use lotion, so I took some lotion and I put it on a Q-tip, and then I put some lotion on that worm gear, and we're going to put the battery in, and I already know what's going to happen. So the battery is in, and then there's an on switch here, and nothing. So we're going to take this apart and test to see where the problem is. So disconnecting the motor from the housing where the worm gear was, we have the battery in, and we can use the switch and switch it one way or the other, and nothing happens. So the motor is not getting voltage. So let's see, perhaps my connections into the terminals are not proper. But there's another way to test this motor, and let me show you how we're going to do that. And I'm showing you all this because you might run into a similar problem, and troubleshooting is an important part building things. All right, so we know we have our black negative and red positive terminal on the motor. We're just going to take this battery and we're going to hold it. You won't get shocked because it's very low voltage, 1.5 volts, and then connect it directly to the terminals and see if the motor turns. And it does. Okay, so we know the motor works. So the problem must lie in our connections. So I'm going to pause this and reconnect everything and see if perhaps I just didn't push things in properly. Okay, so further troubleshooting. So I connected just the black terminal from the box here, and the black terminal from the motor into here, and the red terminal from the motor into the box, and the solar panel one. I did not do the blues yet, but watch when I turn it on, and the motor turns. So now we know the motor definitely has power. So the blue, if you'll see that, comes from the solar panel. So that shouldn't affect it, even if I did it wrong. But let's connect that now. So definitely the first time I hooked it up, somehow the red or the black, or both, were not making contact. So now let's try it again before we put it in. Okay, we know the motor is turning. Are you able to see that actually? Let me see, maybe you can't see that. See it spin? Okay. All right, here we go again. Now it's all lubed up with our lotion. I'm going to turn this around here. And push this in. Get these wires out of the way. Okay, push that in. Let's see what happens if we hit the switch. Okay, see it all spinning inside? So it's not a friction issue. It's spinning, and so the gears are spinning. Actually, see the big gears turning real slowly? All right. Planetary gears, right? So you have all kinds of, I would guess that these gears are set in a way that duplicates the motion of the planets. That would be highly likely and logical, right? So that they keep proper distance from each other. So I'm going to shut that off. Okay. And if you notice this stuff I have in my fingers, it's not a disease. It's that foam insulation stuff that you spray. And boy, when that stuff gets on your hands, it takes like days to come off. And, I've tried to tell myself to wear gloves when I use that stuff. And I'm optimistic that I can do it without it. And I'm wrong every time. So it doesn't, I really should wear gloves. All right. I'll put that together. And now that we have that screwed down, I'm going to test it once again to make sure it's not a matter of, see, it might be, now it's not spinning, so maybe the tension is too great. So let's loosen that up a little bit. Let's see how much. See, it's still not going. Let's try to play with this tension. There we go. See that? Like, how would you have known, right? All right. You can't have it screwed down so hard that the tension's so great that then it doesn't spin, right? All right, now we know that. Okay, we'll go back to our instructions. Okay, so then we're gonna put our battery cover in here, and put that down there. And is that gonna cooperate? All right, now look at what we have here. We have our planetary arms that we're putting on. Okay. So this is the first thing we've got to do is we've got to insert the spindle into the gearbox. Okay. Okay, so this is our spindle. And we'll use our clippy things here. Clippers. I know they sell these clippers at Target. Probably can get them at like a Michael's, some kind of hobby shop. All right. There we go. We have our spindle, and then the next one, it wants us to put together the planet Earth. All right. So place a spindle for the Earth model. All right, we're going to put the Earth model together. Which is in here. And there we go. You want to make sure that when you use these clips, you see it has like a wedge end. You want to use the wedged end up against whatever it is you're clipping so that you make a smooth clip. You don't leave a tab. And you never know when that's going to matter. So it's good to get used to thinking about not having a little piece of plastic tab, because sometimes it doesn't matter, but a lot of times it does, especially if you're building like an action figure, which I don't even remember what show it is now, but there was one way back where I got a kit to build an action figure, and it was a lot more work. It came with like a motorcycle, a wolf, and the figure. And I did not have these clips then, and I just used, like electrical clips, and not as good, and so a little frustrating with sometimes the fit and finish of how the pieces went together. So I've learned my lesson. All right, so this is the inner piece, and let's see, we're going to have to match that up. So let's see which goes which. It's a puzzlement. So let's see. I think it's this one. Let's see if that fits in there. It has a little bit of help for us. So there, yes, okay. And then this one, there's a little piece here that tells it how to line it up. So one is thicker and one is thinner, so it'll help you not mess up when you're putting your planet together. I'm having a little trouble here. No, but I got it right. Okay, so this is the bigger one. There we go. All right. 2 hemispheres, and then we're going to push that together. Let's see if that is also... yeah, we have... Okay. Oh, I see. So it's going to go like that. All right. And then that's going to go together. And then you see this is a little hole here. That's going to be for our spindle, our armature. That's going to hold the planet. Somehow, I don't know, it doesn't look like it's fitting. You know what? Something's not right. So I'm going to pause this and investigate. Okay, so what went wrong was when I was saying that you have to line up the larger sort of spindle inside and the smaller one, I actually was able to get the larger one put in place and then squish the small one accidentally out of place, and then I wasn't able to close it all the way. But I have remedied that, and now your Earth is in good shape. So now we know that can happen. See, it's a good thing I'm doing this first, so maybe you can avoid some of these problems. All right. And all right, so the next thing to do is just put all the planets together and then stick them on our spindle. And then we're going to kind of flare them out and get them away from each other and see how they move. So I'm going to pause this, put everything together, and then we'll see how it works. All right, so all of our planets are assembled and all of our pieces clipped out. So what we have to do now is we have to put the spindle arms, okay, we have to put the arms on the spindle and then attach the planets in the proper order. So you have to arrange your arms in lengths so that you know which one's the most distant. So the first one that's going to go on is the most distant, and that is going to be Neptune. So take the longest arm here and stick that down there. And then Neptune looks like, yep, it's this one that has some swirly things on it. Okay, not to be confused with the other green one that has a bunch of dots. So this one, well, actually, let's double check. No. I'm sorry, they are not that way. All right, so Neptune is green, blue. So this is okay. So this is going to be Uranus because it's got the little spots all over it, and Neptune swirlies, and yeah, that looks like Neptune. So because I know Neptune and Uranus, I believe they're about the same size. So yeah, that's the way it's going to be. All right, so we're going to put Neptune out here. And what you have to do is push that. It has a hole on the bottom of it. And you're going to push that on. Also, you can look at your box to see, to verify. So, and that doesn't really help us because it doesn't look like it's to scale. Oh, see, actually, okay, there. Doesn't look like it's to scale. Okay, so we'll forget about that for now. But I'll have to try to decipher these instructions here. All right, so the next longest one is going to be Uranus. So we'll put that down on here. And we know that that has all these little dots all over it. So push that down. But make sure you don't break the arm. Kind of maybe twist it as you're applying some pressure and support it as you're pushing down. All right, and next we're going to have Saturn. And we know Saturn has the most prominent rings, even though we know Jupiter has rings too now. All right, and then is Jupiter. It's a little bit closer to us. Is Jupiter. Let's see if we can find the eye of the storm. I think I saw it. There it is, right? And then Mars. Okay, so I think Mars, let's see, this is Earth, and then Mars is a little bit smaller than Earth, so let's see which one's Mars. I think that one's Mars. And then our favorite planet, right? Earth. And then Venus, which I believe is this green one. Mercury, closest to the sun and the hottest one. And then the sun in the middle. Let's see how this works. All right, so it just spins. So what we have to do, they don't change position, so we're going to have to spread things out. So that it looks like a solar system. And there it goes. All right, so here it is. I did some rearranging of the planets. Here's the solar system on battery power, okay, because we don't have enough sun. And if you want to compare the solar panels to our space station, a couple videos ago, and you could take a look. This is the solar panel here, and here's the solar panel for our space station, which also can run on battery power, but it also came with a rechargeable battery, which actually has been sitting here for a while, and it's probably charged. Let's see. What it is you plug it in to here. Let's see if we can get this thing to spin. No. Okay, it's not charged enough. But all right, but that's how it works. So you take it and you charge it up in the sun. It charges up the solar, this rechargeable battery, and then you plug it in. But you can also run it on battery power. Take these wires here, and I'm gonna plug that in. Keep hitting the camera. Where's that plug in? I forgot where it plugs in already. Okay, so what it is you take the battery, the AAA battery, and charge up. You can plug it into this green rechargeable battery and then plug the rechargeable battery into the space station, and then it spins. Yeah, I forgot that's what it does. And now the rechargeable battery's empty and it stops spinning. But there you go. There's your solar system, and I hope you learned a little bit more about putting these STEM kits together, and even seeing that the technology in these is also related to the technology of radio-controlled cars. And as you study more and more engineering, you'll see it's related to a lot of things. So thanks for watching. GL1 out.